Three stories from three real-life incidents. Number one, a few months ago, I came across the cycling tour called of Tamil Nadu. 9 kilometers to be completed in 7 days. I've been cycling to work pretty much for most of 8 years, and I thought, man, this will be a kind of a great challenge to take. But 900 kilometers in 7 days? Well, I decided it's the end of the year, let's finish it up with a big challenge. And I thought, if you're going to take up that big challenge, you should have a great cycle. And so me and my wife go hunting around for the best cycle that I can get. I go around from one shop to another, go to super malls, but for some reason I could never nail down on a really good cycle. And so I called up a friend of mine, a very passionate cyclist, and he told me, hey, you should go to this shop in Kodambakkam, and there you will get good cycles. I'm saying, no way, because I lived in Kodambakkam for 3 years, and I don't remember seeing a cycle shop that sells high-end cycles. So I finally decided to trace it out. It's called the Balaji Cycle World, snuck in one corner. No wonder I missed it out. So I went in, I met this guy called Suresh Kumar who owns this place. A couple of things that really fascinated me about this guy was that he seemed to really know a lot about cycling, about cycles. He would know the difference between a hybrid, a road bike, and a mountain bike, and what I should use for this tour. He would tell me about the PSI of the tire pressure. He would tell me why a 21-gear cycle is better than a 24-gear cycle. He seemed to really know it. I liked the guy. He got me a cycle that I liked, so I picked one. For 15,000 rupees, 400. My wife actually fainted at the shop. And so I picked the cycle up, and I go meet up with the fellow cyclists, 36 of them, on day one of the race. And then I realized that everyone had fantastic cycles. I mean, you're talking about the Cannondales, the Schwinns, the Firefoxes, the Treks. And much to my dismay, I realized that I had the cheapest cycle amongst everyone. 36 people, guys, 30 of them had bought cycle from this guy called Suresh Kumar, who runs an obscure cycle shop in one corner of Kodambakkam. 30 out of 36. And these are not ordinary cycles. These are 40,000 rupees, 65,000 rupees. One guy even had a cycle worth $175,000. And then I realized why. One of the 36 participants who's riding those 900 kilometers is this guy, Suresh Kumar. So when he spoke with me and when he spoke with the others, he removed his ad as the cycle shop owner and put on his ad as a cyclist. And he felt what it means to be a cyclist and gave his advices. And that's what worked. All those 2 weeks that I spent searching around for a good cycle didn't work because I spoke to salespeople. So that's a big lesson that I learned, that if you have to be successful as an individual, as a corporation in social media, I think we have to be one with the community and really feel it from the inside. That's one very strong lesson. Incident number 2. I also played the role of the Indian ambassador for TEDx. TED stands for Technology, Entertainment, Design. And it's it's a wonderful conference, probably the best conference that I've ever been to. How many of you have watched a TED Talk? It's quite a handful. For those of you who didn't raise your hands, do yourself a favor and watch. You will be grateful. Let's get a little bit into the history of TED. The conference was started by a guy called Richard Saul Verman and started in the year 1984. Not only were the speakers handpicked, I mean, you have to be the best of the best to even be selected as a speaker, but you should also have done something of repute. You must have accomplished something in life, even to be invited as an audience. And so for the first 20 years nearly, it was restricted to a select group of about 600 people who will congregate in Monterey, California, and they're all handpicked. People who attended this TED conference will come and say that these are brain spa. It's an orgasm of ideas. Absolute brilliance. But it's only those 600 people who would really know it. And then around the early 2001, a guy called Chris Anderson took over the ownership of TED. He became the curator. Now, before I go a little further, I want to tell you about Chris Anderson. At one point of time, he ran a media empire worth $2 billion. Business 2.0 magazine, one of the magazines that he ran, would be the size of a telephone directory. So many ads. And then 2 planes went and hit 2 tall towers in New York City, and the economy tanked. And so did his business. So bad that he was losing a net worth of $1 million every day. $1 million every day for the next 18 months. Do you know what it is to see your wealth melt away? It took him 8 years to get his first 350 employees. On one fateful day, he fired 1,000 people from his company. You know what that would feel? That was the time he decided to move out. He sold his company off and decided to do something that his heart truly wanted. And he's been a regular TEDster, and he found a remarkable opportunity in TED because he enjoyed. When he was there for that 4-day conference, he would lose himself. He would truly enjoy networking with people and learning from others. And he decided to take that as his lifetime passion. A lot of people said, Chris, you melted away a company. Please do not mess around with a great property like TED. Do you know what pressure he must be under? And so he took ownership. He did a lot of innovative things. And the most innovative that he did was the year 2006, when he decided to hire huge cameras, much bigger than the ones that you see around in this hall. 7 of them, high-definition cameras, and recorded each talk in HD quality. And he gave away these talks for free. What's the big deal? I'll tell you why it's a big deal. Conferences would cost $2,400 if you're selected. $2,400. And that doesn't include your flight, doesn't include your accommodation. People said, Chris, you're doing a mistake. If you start giving away all your content, who's going to come to your conference? Who's going to pay you money? How are you going to run your business? But he ventured on with this idea. The rest, as they say, is history. As we speak right now, over 650 million people have watched TED Talks. People saw the video, and then they realized the quality of these talks, the brilliance. Imagine knowing about the beauty of Mother Earth and sitting along on a breakfast table and having a conversation with the guy who's climbed Mount Everest, who's walked to the North Pole, walked to the South Pole, and gone to the depth of the ocean. How about learning it from him about the beauty of Earth? How about having lunch with Larry Page and listening from him about the slogan, "Don't be evil," and getting it from the horse's mouth? People realized that the true beauty lies in actually meeting people, and so more and more people started signing up, so much so that there was a waiting period of over a year. The conference fee was raised from $2,400 to $4,000 to $6,000, and to this year, it's $7,500 for a conference. So the big lesson for each one of us is that the more we give away what we think is our biggest asset, the more we actually gain back in return. Learn that as an individual, learn that as a corporation. Incident number 3. A friend of mine came in from the US and he wanted to take a railway tour of Tamil Nadu. So he asked me to book train tickets and then also a place near Egmore because that's where the railway station is. So I booked him in a hotel. The next day he calls me up and said that, Kiruba, I didn't expect you to do this. What? And then he sent me a link on TripAdvisor that had about 11 reviews and 10 of them scathingly bad. When I say scathingly bad, it's so bad. Toilets unclean, bed sheets dirty. But I'll tell you what, I've been to that hotel. It's spanking new, guys, less than a year old. The owner of that place spent 90 crores demolishing an old building and built one brand new. Beautiful discotheques, their reception, the bedrooms. But the reviews on TripAdvisor said the opposite. And the owner had no idea about something called a TripAdvisor that exists and those 10 scathing reviews. He has no clue about how many people would have turned away because that's what most people use when they want to check how good a place is. Fast forward this to day before yesterday. I take my family out on a vacation to Aircard. We land in Aircard because this is a road trip, so we didn't pre-book. We land at Aircard. I open up TripAdvisor on my iPad and search for the best hotel, and it points me to Hotel Regent Hills View. So we drive down to this place, and it's a beautiful colonial building built in 1860. It was the first hotel in Aircard. It was lying vacant for over 100 years until this guy last year picked this property out and transformed, and all it has is just 3 rooms. But he's done the place so much, and he moves around with guests so much, does personal attention, that this 3-bedroom hotel has 26 reviews and is ranked number 1 in TripAdvisor for all hotels in Aircard. So sometimes what you need to do, even as an individual, is you got to go and ego search. You got to look at what are people talking about you. Because what people see on the internet is what people will perceive about you as well. So 3 important lessons I'm going to leave you out. Number 1, to be successful, be part of the community. Number 2, share your knowledge. The more you share, the more you benefit. Number 3, listen hard about what people are saying about you. Thank you for being a great audience.